Hey, this is Chris from Bellows Intent, and I'm going to take a look at the pre-production copies for Rolling in Wonderland. So let's dive in and see how they look. All right, so here we have the pre-production copies in the two different versions. We've got the Classic here on the right and Unbound here on the left. I'm going to start by unboxing Unbound because it's got more of the deluxe components inside it right now. I should also mention these are the deluxe editions of each version. I also have the standard editions off camera that I will pull in a little bit, but as most backers opt for the deluxe edition, I want to cover that first, which also includes most of the components that appear in the standard. So let's get into the Unbound. I'll note one change right away. One small issue here is that the designer's name was not super readable, so we just changed the background artwork there to make sure that Daniel Alves gets the credit that he is very much due. Okay, so let's pull this into the frame and we'll unbox it. Now the box bottom of this particular pre-production copy is just white. We didn't have time to finish the box bottom in time to complete the sample before Chinese New Year, but we are looking to get this project finished, get these games delivered to backers on a reasonable time frame this year. So we made the call, let's just make it with what we've got, ship it, and then we will approve a few files after Chinese New Year so that we can move straight into production. So there's no printing on this box. First thing that we've got here is a score pad. I'm not sure how well this appears, but these are the results from test play that I did with a couple friends. Now, I've played this game before many times. They had not, so I did come out ahead with 73 points, although it was pretty close. Looks like Dave had 68 and Dan had 54. So that is looking good. Score pad, plenty of sheets, each one double-sided. That should cover people for many plays. And then we get into the organization here. So this is the first time that we see the tray samples. Each one of these trays has already been filled in with its components, and we can see that everything fits really well. So I will just move this box off to the side for a moment so that we can take a look at the trays here. In each mushroom tray, there is a curved row that holds the 6 dice for each player. So the way that this game scales by player count is that you include 1 die of every color for each player in the game. So it makes sense to include a single die of each color in each mushroom tray so that when you're setting up, you just hand someone their tray that includes both all components in their color and also all dice that will get added to the game. One common question that comes up when I'm demoing this game is, you roll these dice, you place them around the board, and then people ask, oh, but how do I know which dice are mine? Because, these dice are the same as this player's dice, are the same as the next. Crucially, in this game, the dice do not belong to you. You draft them temporarily, but then you roll them and distribute them back around the board. So they're not your dice, but that is how the game scales. In here, we've got deluxe soldier meeples, so these silkscreen printed card soldiers, which are looking very nice. We updated the printing for each of these with the final suit icons that are included in the Unbound version. So we've got some nice geometric hearts, diamonds, clubs, spades, and jokers. And then we've also got the mushroom tokens in here. So this is what they look like from the top, obviously to the side, and these came out really nicely. Very tactile, they look great. Yeah, really happy with them. I'm gonna leave those out because they are gonna integrate with some of the player boards that we're going to encounter here shortly. So if we bring the box back in here, we've got 5 of these player trays for the 5 players that come in the deluxe edition. So I'm going to pull all of those out. They all stack up. And then we get into the next layer of what's going on here. So, I'm just going to turn this. I think that might present a little better. So we've got a key tray here. for, or kind of a lock, I suppose, for the victory point tokens, the influence markers. Now, these are the cardboard versions. The cutting on these pre-production copies is rough, which is just something inherent to kind of the plotter cutting machine that's used to cut pre-production copies, as opposed to the mass production kind of cookie cutter type die cuts that go down and cut everything smoothly. But nonetheless, they're the correct quantity and dimensions here that just validate that this works. Now, I've populated this right now with cardboard tokens, but we will take a look at the metal versions, which was an optional upgrade in the campaign as well. But everything's fitting nicely in here. I will note that the metal versions didn't fit as well in especially this top compartment where the 3s go. So we have made a small adjustment to the size of each of these compartments, where the 3s are the tightest, the 2s are pretty much exactly as I'd like them, and the 1s are a little loose. So we've just changed dimensions of those compartments. All right, that's off to the side. Those are all of the trays that are used for kind of like setup and play and, you know, passed around the table. Oh, I forgot to mention, or I forgot to take a look at how these mushroom trays work as dice trays as well. So let's do that. Actually, let's do it for a different character. Purple's the one that I haven't populated with dice here. So maybe let's do it with blue. So I can take those dice out. Take those components out and just roll these dice here and drop them in the dice tray. So just a way to keep your dice contained, obviously, always nice. I have noticed demoing this game that absent some sort of container like this, people, I mean, it depends on the personalities of the people at your table, but there are certain gamers who will just kind of throw dice and, you know, if they knock components around on the table, well, you know, kind of seems like they feel like that's your problem to deal with. But not with these mushroom trays. They keep everything in place. All right. So let's put those away. Let's see what else we got going on in this box. All right, let's take a look at the neoprene playmat. Why not? I don't know if it'll fit in the full frame here, but it does fit in the box, right? Which is very important. Playmat storage is something that I think a lot of gamers, myself included, find to be a bit of a pain. So I mean, I do want playmats, and I do want them even if they don't fit in the box, but I definitely prefer if they do fit in the box. So anyways, this is how it's looking. Everything is really crisp, really happy with the printing here and the overall quality, double stitch edges. And yeah, it just makes it, you know, one thing about cardboard, and actually this is the case for another Wonderland game that I love, Wonderland's War. In that game you have, I think it's just one die, like I think it's the Madness die, where you roll that on the board. And I always kind of cringe a little bit because I'm like, oh, you're rolling this die on my cardboard board. Like, you know, just, it's not much, but like, you know, time and time again, that's gonna probably dent it a little bit. It's probably gonna show some wear eventually. And that's one thing I like about neoprene board. You know, in this game, you don't roll dice on the board, you roll them in that mushroom tray. But there is placing of meeples on here. There's placing and drawing of cards and different wooden tokens. So I do feel like, oh, this game is going to last me, you know, probably my entire lifetime. And this neoprene is going to help with that. So this is the neoprene. I'm going to roll it up. And, you know, if you roll it up super tightly, and I don't know that I'm going to succeed at doing that right now, because I've got a camera mount in front of me. But if you did, it would actually, you would have like more space than you needed here. So I did not roll it up super tightly right now. In fact, that was a pretty poor job I just did. And this tray, okay, it's like a little raised here. If I'm not going to do it right now, but if I just spend like a few extra seconds rolling this a little tighter, then it'll be just fine. But my point there is that this compartment for this has plenty of space. You do not need to be an expert neoprene roller in order to get this in here. Okay, a couple card compartments that holds the 2 decks of cards. These do also hold sleeved cards. That has been tested and verified. The decks were a little too high when I sleeved every single card, so we have increased the depth of these two compartments just so that sleeves do not overflow at all. But that has been validated. I know that's like a super common question, is does the tray fit sleeved cards? And it does. These are the card backs. I'm not going to go through every single card. I've already done that myself to validate that all of the text is correct. Through playtesting this copy, there were like even a couple minor copy editing issues or like improvements that we identified that we could make to the language of a couple of the Mad Hatter cards. So we did that. But those cards are looking good and fitting as they're supposed to. Tokens up here. We've got some Cheshire Cat tokens. We've got 7 of them. This is one of the changes that we made post-campaign, which I just found was a great usability improvement, was to replace 7 Cheshire Cat cards with these cardboard tokens, which are shorter, a little bit wider, and fit above the game board or the neoprene board here, such that dice can be closer to the board. I went into that in an update, I think in January, so I won't go too much in depth or won't go further into it here, but these are all looking good and fitting well. Then we've got the first player marker. There is a cardboard version of it, and then there is also a upgraded metal first player marker, and this thing is very hefty. It feels great, and I'm really happy with how the colors came out as well. It's got this nice enamel kind of translucent paint to it. So that's looking good. You can fit that in there and fit the cardboard version on top. Same here, you can fit the cardboard version of the Jabberwocky with the chonky wooden version beneath it. So if you've got the cardboard one in here, cardboard one only that is just fine. But if you've got the upgraded chonky Jabberwocky as well, it will also sit in there nicely. This tray accommodates both. All right, which I think leaves only this compartment of components that we haven't covered yet. This stores a few things, 5 player boards, and I mentioned the mushroom tokens that we're going to come back to, so we can do that now. So each of these mushrooms will slot into one of these 2 holes here. I mean, pretty basic, but it's just nice to have it so that if you bump the table, they stay in place. These are a little top heavy. I thought about reducing them a little bit, but like, if they became much shorter, they wouldn't really appear as mushrooms anymore. In my tests, they haven't really been, falling over here like left and right. But I mean, if you do take one of these player boards and are violent with it, that will happen. All right. We also have space for 5 player aids here. Each of these double-sided. These are cardboard, which is nice. I always appreciate having a cardboard player aid rather than a cardstock one. That's just, that's a pretty minor upgrade to have, but given that we had room on the punch boards, we figured why not? And what else do we have here? We've got 2 caterpillar tokens, which are used to track movement on the caterpillar's path. And then we've got these ability tokens, which are randomly dealt out, or in the advanced play mode variant, you can draft these in reverse turn order. These just slot into your player board and then show what your special ability is each game. That was another usability thing that I covered in that January update. All right, so that is everything for the deluxe box here. I'm just gonna put things away real quick. One nice thing is that this tray really does help make setup and teardown super easy. So I'm gonna throw key tray in there, that in here, that in here. We need to figure out which one of these I took the mushrooms from. It must be that last red one. There we go. Pop those back in. And put the score pad on top. No rule book here. That is the other component in the Unbound edition that we did not get printed before Chinese New Year, but that is coming and being validated. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside, and we can take a look at the deluxe edition of the classic version. Now, it doesn't have a duplicate of every component in here. We generally only receive one sample of each component that there is to be produced. So the trays, the shape of those trays is going to be the same whether you're getting the deluxe edition of the Unbound version or the classic version. So there's not another set of trays in here. There is another playmat, which is very nice because obviously this board has completely different artwork on it. So that has also been tested and is looking great. And we've got a few other things in here. Oh, we've got some promos. Come back to those. And then we've got the components that are specific to the classic printing, or at least some of them. So we've got like the deluxe soldier meeples for it, which we've updated the printing for those as well. Colors are slightly different, and they are all looking good. What else do we have in here? We've got, yes, more promos. Okay, I'm gonna come back to those promos. All right, so nothing else really to see here. Then we can move on to the standard edition of each of these. I'm actually going to do classic first because that classic deluxe edition didn't have a ton in it that was relevant. And that's because, well, A, because a lot of the components are duplicated with Unbound, as I mentioned, but B, because I was last running a test and actually playing a copy with the standard edition here. So let's open that up. We've got the rulebook at the top. Looking good. We've made quite a few. Well, we rewrote this rulebook from scratch for clarity and I mean all kinds of grammatical issues that existed in the kind of the prototype one. So this is looking great. We've got punch boards here. These, a lot of rough edges, like I mentioned, that's just inherent to the pre-production process and the way that these are cut. We've got the cardboard game board, which is a 1/3 fold board. Also tested and looking good. Oh, it looks like I've got the caterpillar tokens in here. Must have forgotten to put those back. And then in the standard edition, we've got a basic cardboard tray. I might adjust the dimensions of this slightly before production, but we'll see, testing it out. Now, this is generally not how I store my games. After I played with this copy, I did kind of just throw everything back in here. So I've got cards loose, tokens loose, and everything. But I think, for a pre-production copy, this thing doesn't need to survive that long. Basically, until the mass production one gets in and is looking good. That's as long as this has a useful life. So it's got duplicates of everything we saw. Player boards, as covered in the campaign, these are double-sided with a different character on each. Ooh, we've got Tweedledee and Tweedledum here. Yeah, I was playing with those. That was fun. Score pad down here. In the standard edition, each player is just going to have a bag for their components where you can store everything of your color, and again, one die of each color, so that to scale the game, you just, each person chooses a bag with the color that they prefer, and then the dice are already scaled. The mushrooms here are slightly different. The mushrooms are colored to match the white dice in the game. So in the two different versions, Unbound and Classic, the dice colors are slightly different, and the mushroom colors are slightly different as well to match those. Cards here, all looking good. Let's see, what else is here that's different? I mean, all of the other components are the same. It's, again, just the graphic design and iconography that you can see on the side-by-side comparison on the GameFound page that shows all of the differences. So yeah, everything was looking good here. Nothing came up from the playtesting that I've done, or rather the kind of like usability testing that required any changes. All right, let's box that back up. And we can take a look briefly at the standard edition of the unbound version. Then we can look at some promos and we'll be all done. Okay, cardboard for this one. Looking very good. Punch boards, same die cuts. Ooh, there's some metal tokens. I'll put those aside too. Now really the only difference here, the only thing we didn't see in the deluxe edition that we unboxed is the shape of the soldier meeples. So these ones are custom shape. Maybe if I put them against a white background, they'll appear. Not too sure. Custom shape of meeple, little card soldiers, not silk screen printed, so not quite as nice, but still, in my opinion, a nice touch over kind of the classic meeple shape. But I suppose that's in the eye of the beholder. Okay. So that is classic out of the way. Those are all of the base game components. A couple other promos here. We can take a look briefly at this Secret Cabal promo. This one's actually being updated. The Secret Cabal promo has a player board, and in this pre-production copy, it's just double-sided, exactly the same on both sides, but it is being changed so that one side is unbound, the unbound version, unbound visual style, and the other side is classic. Yes, that is definitely the case. I was like double guessing, second guessing myself there, but no, that is definitely the case. Then a set of player components here. You know, this has been clarified on the campaign page. It's always said as much, and I try to, you know, put this disclaimer everywhere that this promo appears, but this is just purely cosmetic. It doesn't add a new player to the game. It simply lets you swap out one player with the Secret Cabal promo if you so desire, which is an orange color and represents a couple things from their show. So there's the skunk ape, which is, you know, they're really into cryptids, and I think this is one of their faves. And then the Secret Cabal logo is obviously this cobra, so you get a set of 12 soldier meeples as that cobra. You can use these components in Rolling in Wonderland, of course. You can also use them in other games if you want to try to find a use for these cobra meeples or the skunk ape meeples or these cubes and such as scoring trackers or whatever you might need them for in other games in your collection. Just for anyone who is a fan of that podcast like me. Especially earlier on in my kind of introduction to board games, hobby board games, they really helped foster enthusiasm. So I owe them a lot. All right, then we've got the Tweedledee and Tweedledum promo here. There are also a couple cards in those copies that we looked at that I didn't pull out for these promos. Along with those cards, a Tweedledee die, a Tweedledee meeple, and a Tweedledum meeple. This is the classic version of them. The unbound version is slightly different. This die is purple. This illustration also has like he's got like purple clothing instead of blue, just to match, just so that those dice colors match their respective versions. So these were looking good. Played with them in my last game, and they're a ton of fun. Then, well, we've got card sleeves. I'm not going to open these up, but they are what they are, you know. They're card sleeves, and they're really nice ones too. I don't know the exact thickness. I'm not a big sleever myself, so I think that like 100 microns is what is kind of like industry standard for premium sleeves. I haven't measured these in microns, but I hold them up to other premium sleeves that I've paid for myself, because I don't sleeve a lot of games, but I do sleeve some, and they definitely stand up and are kind of equivalent in thickness and quality, at least in my mind. All right, and then we've got samples of the metal influence tokens. These are all ones, just for the purpose of approving the colors. Of course, in the final game, the ones will be like bronze, like this, but but then the silver ones will be 2s and the gold will be 3s. In any case, these are looking super good. I have played with them, and yeah, I love them. They're great. It's also, I always like having tokens that are not just kind of like generic coins, right? So to have like a key that's a star shape rather than just a victory point star, something that I enjoy. All right, and last but not least here, we've got some character pins. Obviously, cosmetic, not relevant to gameplay. I won't pull each one of these out of their, each one of them is wrapped up here, but they are looking super nice with gold backing and borders for each of the 6 Wonderland characters on the board. So that is everything. That is the pre-production copy of Rolling in Wonderland. There are a few minor changes made based on the testing of these copies, but everything is really looking excellent. So we are moving forward with mass production very shortly as planned. All right, thanks for watching.